pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chapman? Clark? Rose?
Yes.
Patton?
Here.
Tyler?
Here.
Zelenak? Eckert?
Couple of additions to the agenda. Under D in action items, approve Mike Linton to the Planning Commission. E, approve Matt Gabris to the DDA. And add on to C, approve Sherry Fuss to the Planning Commission and DDA. That's all the corrections I have. Anybody else have anything? Need a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
And moved and supported to accept the changes to the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the September 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Any support?
Support.
And moved and supported to accept the minutes from September 12th, 2018. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Mr. Hayes, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Council. I'm Norm Hayes. I'll move over here so I don't talk to anybody back if I can. I'm Norm Hayes. I'm your probate court judge. And I wanted to come in and just say hi and give you a little idea of what I do. I'm the probate court judge, obviously, for Antrim County, but I'm also the 13th Circuit Court Family Division judge. And the best way to maybe, and I know I've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to tell you a little story about different cases that I hear. A lot of people think, well, probate court, you just do wills and estates. And that's true, that's part of it, but it's really a very small part of what we do in probate court, in the family division. And I'm going to give you a made-up case here to kind of tell you what we do. And we're going to call this Baby Jane, case of Baby Jane. Baby Jane is left with a chief when she's first born. Parents can do that without getting in trouble, you know. And he calls the Department of Health and Human Services. They come and file a petition with me as a neglect case, because the baby's been abandoned. That's a hearing. Each one of these cases that I tell you about are proceedings is a hearing in court in front of me. It has different burdens of proof, different procedures, but each one's different. You're about to find out. Let's say she gets adopted. There's various hearings up until the time she gets adopted, and I'm going to skip over those. She gets adopted, and things are going well until she gets about 13. Then she decides to go into the village market and steal some makeup. Well, Chief gets called again, and he files a petition in district court, or if she's 17, but if she's under 17, like here she's 13, he'll file a petition with me in the probate court in the family division as a delinquent. And of course, that's beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to prove that. But that's a hearing held in front of me as well. Now let's say that she gets through probation okay, but now she gets to be 16. He says, you know what, I can live on my own. I'm going to do an emancipation of minor. I want to be an emancipated minor. Well, that's a proceeding held in front of me too. I've never done that. I've never said a 16-year-old is able to live alone on their own. I suppose I could see one case one day if they hit the lotto and, you know, they have several $1 million and maybe they could. But that's a case that's heard in front of me too. Now the parents say, you know what, you want to be emancipated, we're going to let you go live with Aunt Betty. We don't want to deal with it. Well, then there's a guardianship proceeding. Now that's held in front of me too. She lives with Aunt Betty for a while, graduates from high school, meets a guy, decides to get married. But groom's ex-girlfriend is causing her problems. She files, goes to the chief. I'm going to pick on you, chief. Goes to the chief and gets a PPO and says, well, you go to court and get a PPO, personal protection order. That's in front of me too. So, and if there's any violations, then of course that comes in front of me. But the marriage doesn't work out. So guess who gets the divorce? I can do the wedding too, by the way. if they want to do it. But anyway, so I do the divorce, okay? And hear that custody hearing and everything else. Everything else is going along now. She's divorced, she's getting older, her parents are getting older, and now they may need some help because maybe their cognitive abilities are declining, and they need a conservatorship or a guardianship. That's held in front of me too. And now they pass on. That's when I get the will in the state proceeding. So, you know, probate court, now I didn't know, 3 minutes too long. Probate court's the best court, I think, in the world. It really is, because I deal with everything from birth to death, everything in between, and it's all different, and it changes every day. So I really enjoy it. I was your district court judge for 10 years too, but I really like working with kids and turning them around. You'll see in my brochure there, I copied a letter, part of a letter that I received from a young man that was on probation to me, but I gave him a break, and this was years ago. And he wrote a letter and thanked me at the time, and then he came in recently in full uniform with his wife and a baby, and said, I just want to show you that I've really turned it around, and I really appreciate what you did for me. And you know, really, there's not a price you can put on that, you know, when you see a young man that really kind of turned it around. But I copied part of his letter and put it in there so you could read it, but appreciate your support in November, but I'll answer any questions you may have, too. You got it.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your
Thank
time,
you.
really.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Well, the public here, unless Sherry, you had something to say.
I'll do an update on the cabin. Is that all right? I did do some more research since our last meeting. I sent you some of the information, Larry, but thanks to Lois and Becky at the library, they found some articles. So the initial cabin, the Cary cabin, was put there in '73. It started in '73, I don't think they finished it until '74. And it does say, I'll read a little bit of the article, the plan was to reconstruct the historic Cary cabin on a site just north of the Palace Hotel at that time. The land belongs to the Central Lake Village and has been leased to the Chamber for 100 years. So the funds, well, that's the gist of that anyway. So it was kind of rebuilt, they had to take it apart and rebuilt it, so we have a date, we know when it was put there, we know the intent. There was a question about the second cabin, and Lois said she found some information, I don't have the article, but she said that was put there about '83, and it was built by the YMCA, and the camp kids, they literally did it without power equipment, and it was built on that site, or it wasn't built on that site, it was built, I think, at the YMCA, and it was carried in with a helicopter. I don't have the article yet, but Gary Dawson very vividly remembered that it being come in by a helicopter. So we kind of talked about it at the chamber, we kind of like to maybe redirect how it's being used. And we're talking about we would take the antiques and museum stuff out of it. So we can put brochures in there so people could come in and just get the brochures. So there wouldn't be a need to build a security wall per se. We'd also like to, we're gonna work on some sort of a plan to fix the gazebo. We do need to get estimates for repairs for the initial cabin, and we thought perhaps maybe we could rent it out for small gatherings in the future if possible, if we could get it to a place where it's acceptable to do that. The back cabin, the Children's Museum, we haven't really addressed that yet. We figured we'd start one at a time. We'd start with the front one. So I have the list of everything that was donated. It's about 45 pages in a small booklet. I retyped it, who donated what, who gave what, what's still there, what's not there. Some of the Cary photos, I met with Denise, Cary Schutz, and I have documented photos and a list of what I've given to her of the Cary photos. Then I'm going to go through the rest. If there was anything loaned, we'll try to identify those families if they're still in the area, if they want that stuff back. Some of the stuff may go to the Historical Society, and then we have to decide with whatever's left what to do with it. But, so we do want to take the stuff out, since it's not a good environment for antiques, and redirect how we use it. so that's kind of where we are. Like I said, we need to come up with an estimate for costs, and then either decide how we would fund, is there any opportunity, money anywhere, and I'm gonna put in for grants, do some of the historical preservation places, and we'll do whatever we have to do to fundraiser. Which kind of where
Need
we are.
any letters of support from the village for grants, and they are sometimes helpful,
Okay,
please let us know.
okay.
Thank you for your work. You're taking the bull by the horns, it sounds like, so I appreciate it. I'll speak a little bit more about that in my report.
Okay.
Scott?
Thank you. Hopefully we got a chance to look at the report. Pretty typical month. Meetings. We have I'm sure most of you know, we have an issue going on right now with ordinance issue that is being handled by Brian Graham's office. It's scheduled for court on October the 24th. So before I see you guys again next month, we'll have a court hearing on an ordinance violation. So, and I'll report back to Larry as we go, and some of you guys probably, as I see you, we'll probably keep up to date on that. So pretty simple matter, but and I'm sure it'll be settled by then. It could actually be prolonged or whatever. So school events and stuff like that. So any questions?
Any questions for Scott?
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Sam?
You guys all should have a copy of my report. Pretty typical month for the end of September, October. You'll see on there, we spent a pile of time cleaning up down trees from the last 3 storms. You wouldn't realize it, but in a month we've had 3 big windstorms come through. Other than that, pretty typical month. I spent a little bit of time with Stan Dean on the township, which that'll come up later in somebody else's report. Any questions?
Rob Silk, ever get out and look at those streetlights?
We were supposed to start this week, but with the rain, Monday morning, we paid for the material and all the overhead plugs on the light posts already.
Okay.
And Robbie, as soon as we get rid of this wet weather, he'll be here and we're gonna start on. The 26th of this month, I go in for surgery on this hand, so I won't be around for a while. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lyle?
No, I don't have much to report, it's been kind of slow down there, caught up on some of my fishing time, napping too. I did go over the receipts, we did take and make $465 on the new dock rental.
What was that number?
That we had
465?
about 465, so, it did, probably cover their fee for putting them in.
Yeah,
Pretty close.
so we broke even on that.
A lot better than I thought it would. And I hope when we get the other ones done, we could probably put 2 of them over there
On the south side?
on the south side over there. Those people that come in, especially with the pontoon boats, bigger boats and everything, I kind of like that. Something to tie them up to.
We want to leave them in the water.
This high water is giving us problems out on the shoreline in front of the campsites. There's a lot of rubble that's been exposed, used for fill and so forth, rocks, cement blocks and so forth out there, so people don't like to tie their boats up there any more than they have to, so. That's about all I got.
All right, we'll get that going for next year. So 2 30-footers then? We had 1 30-footer out on the south side. You would want 2 30-footers then?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, we put 30-footers in there, that'll take them, set them back far enough away from any rubbing on the shoreline.
All right, you and I will go over the details of that. I'll see you around all over.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
Any other questions for Lyle? Correspondence, there's a little bit here. Central Lake Chamber of Commerce had a meeting on Monday, October 8th. If you wanted to attend, you're too late.
I missed it.
There is a making and public engagement at Crossroads for a Successful Community. It's a workshop put on through Michigan State University Extension and the National Charette Institute. It will be held in East Jordan on October 29th from 9 to 4:30. It costs $80 to attend. You have to register by October 15th. If anyone would like to attend to represent the community, I would recommend that we would pay their entry fee and let them go to it. I would feel a need if we had not been a Rising Tide community, but I think that process is essentially going to end up being this process. But I'm still thinking about it. That just came in. There's also an appreciation gathering honoring Pat Antrim for the sponsors, donors, committed volunteers, water trail site owners, and elected officials. Wednesday, October 24th, 2 weeks from tonight, from 4:30 to 6:30 at Tapawingo. If there's anybody that would like to attend that, RSVP by the 19th. And I think that's all. Lyle, streets and sidewalks.
I don't have nothing, that's not gonna be talked about later on, street paving and then, the sewer.
SMS from 2316760.
Other than that, Sam's doing a good job getting things cleaned up. I don't know anything else.
Okay. And Leo is not here. Law enforcement bill?
I think Scott covered everything. I don't know if you mentioned anything about the computer terminals in the cars that are still in the process.
Yeah, I would hope, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be up and running with those, so.
That's all I got.
Okay. Melissa's not here. And Brian, finance personnel?
Sam told me that we're getting about $7,400 from MDOT for the Public Act 51. Each municipality is gonna get some money out of that. Then we'll get another check at the end of the state's fiscal year for another $7,400. I don't know if most of you guys know that the doctor's office closed probably about the 1st of July. And I would like to see a letter wrote from the village to the East Jordan Health Center, maybe kind of encouraging them to replace Dr. Haber. I think it's important to have a doctor in town if we can somewhat swing them, so that's all I have, thank you.
On that same note, we're losing two AFC ones, two.
Wobbles is done, and everybody's out of Shirley's.
The other one?
She said
Chance?
Really? She said she's going to do it.
She's gonna be done too.
She didn't say when.
I just think if we could encourage the health center, I'm just afraid that they're not gonna reopen that thing. Just, that's less people that comes to town, goes to the grocery store.
Go get your script filled at the farmer's
Pharmacy
pharmacy.
is huge, yeah.
I don't have a problem drafting it on behalf of, so that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Rob?
Basketball courts, tennis courts are done. The 10-foot green fence is finally up. So we closed out that grant, so we're all done there. Talked to Ron Donaldson today, or not Ron Donaldson, Ron Robinson, thank you. Well, Bill and I did. And he is coordinating with Molly Sundstrom from Porcupine Hollow, hopefully getting the new tree that was vandalized in place Friday. Let's see, well, you can talk about the permit doc, you want me to real quick?
Go ahead.
Permit doc's going in, if you wanna see that going on. There can be a lot of docks down there. Campground revenue as compared from 2017, 2018. October, you're down 3.4% as compared to last year. I know several people that canceled just because of the rain and the poor weather we had. And that is it.
What was the revenue this year over last year?
Last year's revenue for September, $21,189. 2018 was $20,461. The difference of $728.
Tree grant.
Pardon me?
The tree grant. Continue that.
Oh, I think, no, I thought you were gonna talk about that one. Yep, the trees are all planted, the consumer energy trees. So since last year, we planted 25 trees. So we're actually relieving the village very nicely. If we keep that program up, it'll, in 20 years, those trees will be a mature size, and I think it'll be a big difference for the community. We're gonna hopefully get something on the website, showing that those 25 trees were not taken, or no public funds were taken to pay for those trees either. It was all through grant money. And that's, look at that. Next pen, Larry, holy cow, I didn't know it lit up on me. Lost focus. Oh, thank you, Sam and Rachel, for doing that this year, and I'm done. Yeah, you better switch me around.
Okay, my report, we did receive the sidewalk grant through the Northwest Council of Governments. We asked for 25, we got 15. Gordy Frazier's are reevaluating the proposal to see what can be done with the 15, our contribution to that. As Rob mentioned, work began on the docks at the park today. I got a call from Dan Leonard, who's the Michigan Economic Development representative that was the rising tide person, and gave him the update as far as the status of the docks, the pavilion for the downtown, and the zoning changes, which we will have 2 new members to the planning commission, a 3rd member, actually 3. We'll have 4 of the 5 that we need by the meeting's end tonight, which allows us to do some work. That 5th person can be either in the village or out of the village. We're allowed 2 outside of the village on the planning commission. The DDA does not have a restriction, they can be from outside or inside the village. So if anybody wants to participate, they're able to do that. We received a sewer evaluation from the DEQ. The sewer committee is going to meet to address the issues that were brought forth. It has some things that probably are going to cost us some more money, but it will bring us in compliance. That letter was sent to Gordy Frazier's today, so they can use that in their study of our sewer study that we approved last month. And we're going to have to make a few changes. Hopefully the sewer study will present a plan of attack to address our future sewer needs. So we're making progress. That's a good thing. I got a note from Matt Gabris tonight, his wife Jennifer, is a branding, marketing type, graphic design type. They've been in discussions with state officials and recommendations from the state. And so there's some work being done behind the scenes that'll come forward here before too long, I would guess, so. And I think that's all I had. Jennifer sent a report in. She couldn't make it tonight. And the water mixer for the water well has been installed and is working well. And the state is requiring an annual bridge inspection on State Street, which they have done for this year, but it will be an expense, a yearly expense from here forward. And that's all I have, unless somebody has any questions for me. We'll move on. Need a motion to pay the bills, prepaid to $47,356.93, payroll of $67,7074, and payables of $18,175.50 for a total of $72,303.17.
I'll make that motion. Go ahead. Support.
Been moved and supported to accept the paying the bills. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Becker?
Yes. New business. We've been in discussions with the township, primarily Sam, Stan Bean, and Sam and I, and Stan and I. The township approached us saying that they have some money that they would contribute for paving projects inside the village. They suggested the east side of State Street. And Sam said that's a good idea. We would like to do it from Main Street all the way to the village limits to the east. It would include widening on the eastern portion, the eastern half of that stretch, and then resurfacing everything from Main Street down, which would take care of our holes that we have, and just clean it up very nicely next year. So I asked Sam to get a estimate from Reith Riley, just tell them how far we're going and what kind of cost that they would give us, and they came back with an estimated cost of $212,000. I have not talked with Stan to see if they're willing to split that or how much money that's been involved. But if they are, our budget, we've got over $200,000 in our major or local street funds and over $100,000 in our major street funds, so 106. That'll get narrowed down a little bit better, but just for discussion purposes, that's roughly where we're at, and we could cover that. I would hope next year that we could also apply for the extension and replacement of the water main on Maple Street and under the river, which that probably won't happen until 2020. If we can get approval for that, we'll have to do some paving after that work is done, but that also completes the water system, completely replaces it. So I'm hoping that with some effort on Gordy Fraser's part to apply for the grants and get us involved again, that we can keep that going. But that still would leave plenty of money in the street funds to repave Maple Street as it gets tore up and water lines replaced. So that's the new business. There'll be more information down the road. With respect to that, Township's going to bring it up at their meeting next week, so they'll have some idea. If anybody has any opposition to that, I need to hear that. If they are in support of that, I'd like to hear that too. We're not officially voting on anything, but I want to be able to tell the township that we don't have a problem in working with them and repaving State Street, so.
What's the chances we get county to donate maybe some of the labor to, or some of the engineering or?
You want me to jump in here, Larry?
Yep.
I spoke to Stan Bean yesterday, and Stan Bean said he would just as soon not talk to Bert Thompson, not get the county involved in it, because the street is within the village of Central Lake.
It is.
Yep, so Stan at that point does not want to even get Bert involved in it.
Doesn't Wraith and Riley include engineering in their prices?
They do, yes.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, because Sam and I was talking about it, that street's gonna need improvement within the next 5 years anyway. And rather than us eating the whole cost in 5 years, as long as we've got an opportunity here to get half of it paid, I think it's a great idea to have on board.
Because I had originally when Stan approached me, Bill, I had originally said, if Bert Thompson will do the engineering on the road, Stan, I'm good with that at this point. I'll just kind of inform you on what the village is interested in doing. And then he was gonna approach Stan, or he was gonna approach Bert, and then he come back to me yesterday and said, Sam, if you got somebody that will do the engineering for free, get it done. I will not involve Bert Thompson. So that's where I'm
Enough
at.
said.
Pardon?
Enough said.
I don't, that might slow the process down if we involve the county. Not that, for whatever reason, just throw in another entity and we've got 3 conversations instead of 2. So,
Well, we've had such good luck with Reed Riley that.
right.
I
And
mean,
it'll get put out to bid, I'm sure.
Correct,
So
yes.
it's-
Yeah, we got a good
All right, we can say that we're interested in talking with them and we'll go from there. So, new business Halloween, probably should have been an action item rather than new business, but it's also a topic that we address every time, or every year at this time. Last year, we had a bit of a controversy over all of it, but I guess from my perspective, Halloween will be celebrated on Halloween, the 31st, from 5 to 8 p.m. So if anybody would like to differ, that's fine, but I don't think that we have to go through too much. I don't know, Sam, if you want to,
No, I'm gonna be laid up from surgery.
okay.
What else you gonna do then?
I think I'm gonna be able to use my hand.
Okay, we'll let it go this year.
You can drink coffee with the other hand.
This one.
So if anybody, we'll put an ad in the paper that reflects that and go from there.
5 to 8.
5 to 8 on the 31st. No trunk or treat.
Just trunk or treat.
Is there?
Yeah,
On
5 to 7 at Blue Pelican.
On the,
On the
31st.
31st.
great,
What a good idea.
Yeah.
we can include that in our
It's
ad.
gonna be indoors this year too.
Okay.
We go on our
Include
website.
that in our ad if you wanna add that to it. So. Okay, we'll move on to action items. The community growth grant contract, that's for the sidewalk. The dates that we have to plug into that, I think everybody received a copy of this. October 2nd, 2018 through July 30th, 2019. And this just spells out all the requirements that we've got to meet in order to get the monies. Anybody has any discussion over this?
We didn't get one.
You didn't get one. Rachel. Okay, well, the grant agreement number 575B is understood and agreed by and between Networks Northwest and grantee, we are the grantee, that the project to be accomplished by grantee under this agreement is to improve pedestrian connectivity, which is more fully specified in Appendix A. And this is standard legalese. We have to comply in order to get our $15,000 from them, so I don't see where there's any need to dispute it. But I would like a motion to accept the grant agreement.
I'll make a motion to accept the.
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported to accept the grant agreement with Networks Northwest. Any questions? If everyone would like to review this, a copy is available through Rachel.
So this is the proposed,
That was what was proposed,
for the 25, we only got the 15.
right,
So we're gonna have to modify this to make it for the 15,000.
correct. And Gordy Frazier's are evaluating that proposal and they'll have recommendations for us.
All right.
And we can put as much money as we want to towards it, I mean, that's
See
just,
what their evaluation comes back at.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's gonna be one spot, because Sam and I, we've got it paved, got Howard Street paved from the elementary school all the way out to Ballard, but there's a stream that runs underneath the road there between Davis and Bradford, am I not mistaken?
Right,
And I don't think we can put a sidewalk there, I think it'd have to be a boardwalk of some sort. Is this grant, does it have to be concrete, or can we put a boardwalk instead of?
we'll have enough concrete done that if we put a boardwalk in, it's gonna be on us anyway.
Okay,
We're gonna have to contribute anyway, it
Right.
sounds like, so that'd be our contribution.
okay,
Right.
just to make everybody aware, that's gonna be quite an undertaking there, it's not a slap down some forms and type of deal. All right, that's all I have.
And this does not include, this will be bid out, or sent out for bids, and the boys aren't, they'll be supervising it, but they won't be the laborer, so, which is what we've always done in the past, is used our own labor to put in sidewalks. So I think we're all getting too old for that.
Is there, AFC wants to leave in the road here, is that gonna change the priority of it?
I'm gonna wait for Gordy Frazier's to come back with what they have, and we'll see what, then we can sit down, the sidewalk committee can sit down and prioritize.
Because that was one of the considerations.
Right. But I think we're gonna widen State Street, and we can put the path on the side, mark it off, and rather than put in a sidewalk, I mean, that's a possibility. We'll have options, at least we've got 15 grand to work with, so that's somebody else's money, and we can spend what we have to spend in order to make it all happen, so. It may not all happen next year, but it can happen in 2-3 years. We got a motion on the floor and support to accept the grant agreement. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
But
Opposed? Motion carries. Gordy Frazier's has an invoice of $610 for the community growth grant, that grant that we just approved. Their efforts cost us $610 to get the $15,000, so pretty good return on our money. Need a motion to spend that money.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
And moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Beckman,
Yes.
Lovell,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yep.
Heck.
Yes. Sherry Fuss would like to be a member of the planning commission and the DDA. We need a motion to approve her volunteerism.
Make that motion.
Supported.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mike Linton, who lives on Bell Street, has accepted his volunteer efforts for the planning commission. And would like a motion to accept his appointment.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported to accept Mike Clinton onto the planning commission. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Matt Gabris would like to be a member of the DDA. And we need a motion to accept that appointment.
I'll make that motion.
That's work.
Been moved and supported. And all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. We still have room for DDA members. We have one seat for a planning commission. I need one council person to either volunteer or I will appoint Lyle Lovelace. He already accepted, so.
Just trying to become invisible.
But Lyle's agreed to be the other council person on the planning commission, so we will have several meetings, 3, maybe 4 at the most, between now and by the end of January, I hope. They will include that will include a public hearing and then a meeting by the planning commission to recommend the zoning changes that will be proposed to the planning commission. And in order for the planning commission to recommend to the council to approve the changes. So that's imperative that we get the zoning changes done, and then after that, things won't be as critical. We can sit back and say, okay, what do we want to do with it, or what don't we want to do with it? So, I don't think we have to vote on Lyle's since he's on the council, but I guess as a formality, I'll nominate Lyle to the planning commission and need a support for that. Got a move and support. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Lyle, you're there.
Give a chance to.
You guys will need to get sworn in by Rachel for both. Or one, so. Other than that, I don't think, I liked last meeting when we had our newspaper representative here, and she said that we're the only community in the county that's seeking grants and making improvements. I think we're doing a good job. I think there's a lot still in the works. Things don't happen overnight, but they are happening, so I appreciate the efforts of our employees. I think they're all doing a terrific job, keeping our costs down and our activity up there. And I look forward to a new year. We're gonna have at least one new council person after November, so make sure you vote. And I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything? Brian?
I'd just like to thank Lyle for a good summer down at the campground. This is his last meeting. The park will be closing up next week, so I just want to thank you for your good job there.
Thanks, Lyle.
See you next spring.
That job's there, but let's keep in touch as far as your help. That's up to you. You understand that.
I would like to come back, and I will keep you informed of my health.
We're not looking for anybody else, so it's all dependent.
I enjoy it. It's been a pleasure the last couple of years. Consider that first.
All right, then.
Couple of years, been a pleasure.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that?
Been moved and supported to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, folks.